Hi, everyone, and welcome to Take a Pause with Menopause, where we will talk about the pause in all of her glory and not so glory. Yeah, but the conversation will always be honest, fun, and, informative. So today, I again am lucky to have my co host and partner in crime from Menopause, Raquel.
Hello,
Hey, Raquel.
world.
Hello. And today we are happy to have Caitlin, who is a licensed social worker in Nevada and Arizona. And we're going to find out everything about mental health and how it affects you with menopause, without menopause, before menopause, and
All the in
just
betweens.
and all the in betweens and just the struggle. So without further ado, I'll let Raquel start on.
Yeah. So today we have Caitlin, as Mayor just mentioned. And Caitlin she's been a longtime friend of mine. I adore her mother. And I would just love to just say, Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of our
Yes.
journey because this has been an incredibly interesting startup. But yes, it's been pretty amazing. So I
Yeah.
just really want to start with your story. Like what led you to mental health and specifically to supporting women and families like navigating these types of things like trauma, more specifically menopause.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for having me on, and I
Of course.
appreciate what you guys are doing. I think that this is a huge need for women, and I think that it's helpful to be able to have platforms where we can talk about it and normalize it and make this experience not so veiled.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for having me on.
That's a really good way to put it. Not so
It
right.
is great. I just love that. Yeah.
I know. I've learned a lot of great terms today. Like I had a previous meeting today and I was like, I really like the way he
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I use veiled because it's not that women who have gone through menopause before, or like mothers or grandmothers, were trying to withhold any information. It was more so like behind a veil, behind this
Mhm.
experience that they were having internally. And it was hard to
yeah.
talk about, or maybe didn't even know how to talk about it. So, what you guys are doing by providing a platform for everybody to be able to see behind that veil
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
understand what it looks like and how this feels and what's going on is really cool. It's very neat.
Was there like a specific moment when you realized women weren't really being like fully heard or supported and that like turned your ship and navigated you down this path? Or like what brought you to therapy? Like that is
Yeah.
it's such a deep thing. And I I gotta say, I didn't realize how important therapy was or
Mm,
like even having these types of conversations. I mean, look, I always thought therapy was important for certain people, right? And I just never put myself in that category because I had never experienced anything
yeah.
like, in no
Mhm.
mental health type of event whatsoever. So, when I started down this perimenopause journey, I was like, "Holy crap, who am I?" And then I distinctly remember getting the therapist because my husband's insurance it's is free, so I was able to get, like, a therapist on his insurance at the time, and I distinctly remember I felt like a lava plant where it was just, like, percolating, and then I just got on the phone with this lady, and I must have barfed on her for 2 hours, just things, like, about I don't even know what I was saying, but it just was, like, bubbling out of me, just like,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of sometimes how we need to be able to enter into therapy. So, just as a disclaimer for the whole conversation, this is just general information and
"Oh, yeah,
education. This is not
yeah,
therapeutic advice, nor is it medical advice. If anything resonates strongly with you, or if anything comes up while any of you or the listeners are listening in, I
Yeah.
encourage them to reach out to their healthcare provider, talk to their therapist about it if they don't have a therapist. Ask their provider for a referral to a therapist, or there's a lot of different places that you can go online to find a therapist in your
Mhm.
area.
right."
And
Now
if
is
you're
988 if you're really experiencing a mental event, like, is that something that's national or is that just our area?
nope, 988 is national. Yeah. And so
Mhm.
no, that's the suicide and crisis lifeline.
Mhm.
And you could text and call
Uh-huh.
988 from any device. And there's someone there that can talk to you during your crisis and get you to help if you need a higher level
Yeah,
of
yeah, I really
assistance.
think that's important to highlight because there are
Yeah.
you don't know it, and then all of a sudden you're in that space.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's very, it's a very sneaky experience to be, walking through either some sort of crisis or feeling a particular way, and then all of the sudden it's like hits you and you don't know what happened.
That's precisely what happened to me, I had no idea, and I just, like, leading up to, like, my initial panic attack that sent me screaming down the hallway at my friend's house in Florida was like, "What in the heck just happened to me?" Who am I? And I've never had that. So yeah, I mean, there are times when it just you're right, sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So 98, there are warm lines also for most states. I don't want to say all because I'm not sure about all the states, but I definitely know most states have a warm line. If you're experiencing something and you don't have access to um, like a friend or a therapist or your medical provider, you can also look on a warm line for your state, Nevada warm line, and it will be right there. Typically, like a local number available or 988.
I do love that.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay, so back to you.
So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I kind of got into it by accident. Honestly, I was taking some classes at the university here in Nevada, and I was really gravitating towards advocacy and justice, and those tenets are all held in social work. And so I started more down the social work rabbit hole, and then I realized I could become a therapist. And I think mental health is a big component of being a human. And I think that oftentimes, especially up until recently, it's not something that we've really considered to be just as important as medical care. Like when you break your
Mhm.
leg, you go to the emergency room.
Right.
When you're
Right.
having a crisis, you call 988 and you find a therapist. Like those
Yeah.
are,
Right. Right. And I love that you said human. It's the human experience is exactly what like Mary and I and Debbie were all constantly trying to bring the human experience back to like the workplace, the experience of menopause, like just all the things, right? Like we've reached that point where we have to become humans again. We're no longer super women.
oh, yeah, no,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. We,
It's crazy.
yeah. Well,
So
to
how
realize
is yeah,
that you're a
I'm sorry, go
human.
ahead.
Yeah. Just to realize that you're human and to realize that other humans are also having these experiences and
Mhm.
that at times it can feel so isolating and to be able to talk about it and have someone to talk to and refer to. I think that that's a part of what I noticed when I started to become a therapist. I realized how important it is for people to be able to get on the phone and vomit or talk about it. And maybe even some people are feeling very apprehensive about a stranger listening to all of their secrets, right? And you still want to be able to have access to someone.
Mhm.
Right. That's pretty valid too, because I do hear a lot of people say like, well, it's mental health is just as taboo as menopause, right? Like I feel like people think, well, if I have to talk to a therapist, then there's something wrong with me. Well,
Yeah.
like that's okay. That is okay if
Mhm.
you can't deal with the thoughts in your head,
Mhm.
right? Taking that off the table and humanizing yourself again becomes okay. And like I had to really step back and think through that too for myself because as growing up, it was never really a conversation. It was always like, if you had to see the therapist, you were just a whack job. That's how my family always kind of presented that to me. And I was like, well, therapy probably wouldn't hurt.
Maybe not.
But then as I raised my own children, like I was a huge advocate for putting them in therapy because yeah, they talk to me, but there's things that they don't talk to me about, and I wanted to give them a safe space that they could just, like, get that word vomit off their mind. We're in a really crazy environment, and I wanted to be able to give them a place where they could talk to somebody and gain tools to deal with things and navigate, like, adulthood and know that therapy was not gonna be a taboo or something that they couldn't approach as they got older, and I wanted them to know it was a tool that you use when you need it,
Yeah.
just like breaking your leg, like the ER.
Yeah. Well, I think that the taboo, like you said, that is such a key word because there's taboo on the word menopause, right? There's
Yeah.
taboo on mental health and people having issues, right? And then there's also taboo on therapy. So now you have a woman who siloed herself with everything that's like, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't. And then you are left just with your own thoughts, which are not necessarily the kindest to you when you're going through
No,
menopause.
no. The amount of doom and gloom that comes in as you enter perimenopause with your hormones is just so incredible. What are some of the patterns that you kind of see with women
Yeah.
coming to you, Caitlin?
Yeah, so it can be anything from, like, blaming themselves, so what you said about, like,
Mhm.
noticing that I needed to talk to someone, but not really knowing how to bridge that gap, not really knowing what that looked like, not really, experiencing, whether it be symptoms or experiencing menopause or
Mhm.
experiencing mood shifts or sleep disturbance or feeling more irritable, right? Like all of these things that come and not really knowing, okay, I have all of this and I feel like something's wrong with me. And
Right.
I think a big thing that we want to, or that I want to enforce or maybe advocate for is that the symptoms are not something that's wrong with you. They're not a character flaw. They're packets of information. Your body
Mhm.
is telling you something, and it's our job to help you or anyone slow down enough to be able to realize what that pattern or that packet of information is trying to tell you.
Yeah.
I like how
That's
you
a
put
great
that.
way of yeah, that's a great way of explaining it, that
Mhm,
it is your body trying to tell you something. And
mhm.
but you get so busy with everything else, you sort of squash it, and just start listening to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 4 S's that I kind of look at for women and women who are in perimenopause and menopause, and it's sleep, self-concept, sensitivity, and stress.
Well, sleep is huge.
Mm.
That's like the number one time bomb. I swear when we talk about menopause.
Yeah.
It's because women start to lose sleep and it just fries us, right? And we don't even think about it because we used to just sleep whenever, wake up whenever. And I know there was a whole period of time when I would always wake up in the middle of the night and just like play on my phone. Not anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I'm serious about my sleep.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, sleep is so important because it's like an emotional reset.
yes.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it allows your nervous system to relax. It allows your all of the things that you have like gone through in your day and get backlogged into your brain. It allows that to all be processed and
Mhm.
allocated and put places in your brain to eat or digested and returned back to
Yeah,
your body or wherever. And so when you're missing that sleep, it becomes such a congested experience and then emotionally become more sensitive.
Right,
right.
right.
Everything, like, after like you said, the 4 S's, everything after sleep plays on sleep.
Yeah.
You don't get
Totally.
sleep, self-con "Oh, here,
Yeah,
I can't
didn't get
sleep. What's
sleep.
wrong with me? Sensitivity, I am
Didn't
so
sleep.
tired. I just need to sleep," and then
Right.
stress of, like, if I fall asleep right now, I'm gonna have 4 hours before I have to get up for work.
Yeah.
Okay, if I fall asleep, like, right
Right
now,
now.
I'll have 2 hours, like, and it's like, I love the 4 S's. Yeah.
I did, but the main S
The
is
main
the
S is
precursor to the
sleep.
kiss.
Yeah. That's why I put that at the top.
Yeah,
Exactly. You knew exactly what you were
well
doing,
played, well
girlfriend.
played. Especially in a menopause group, right?
Welcome to the "We Have Broken Sleep" club.
Yeah.
Right. Straight up.
So,
Oh, shoot.
what we wanna do with these S's is try to attend to each pillar, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
And when you notice that something is happening, that either you're feeling a little bit more reactive or your moods have been up and down, or again, not diagnosing, not providing any sort of therapy service, but just generally as a human, what are you experiencing?
yeah,
And what I often say is then let's return back to the 4 S's. In the recovery community, they call it HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And you look at it as the 4 S's. It's
mhm,
sleep, sensitivity, stress, and self-concept. So
yeah,
which one of our pillars is going to be the most needing me the most, right? Am I sleeping? Okay. If I am, and like generally it's not broken, okay. Okay. Am I stressed? What's my stress look like? If it's really high, if you've got a lot going on, then maybe that's something that we need to look at.
Mhm.
But yeah, kind of different for everybody.
totally. When you see people coming in with, like, anxiety, depression, brain fog, like, self-doubt, like, how are some of the and I know this is not clinical advice, this is just kind of things, like, but what are some tips or tricks that you can give? For me in particular, I struggle still with, like, you read all of the literature and you practice all the things, and then it's like, Okay, but what's next? What's step 2?
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to, when you feel as though you've coped or you have your toolbox of coping skills, it's hard to go through that toolbox and then still not have relief. Yeah.
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 Cause then you're like, I've got all these coping skills and nothing
Yeah.
is working.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you still wake up with days like that where you're just like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and two things. One, it might be time to call a therapist. It might be
Mhm.
time to start to look into maybe really getting into or digging down deeper because the
okay.
4 S's are
Yeah.
helpful in terms of like a spot check, right? Like you're just
Hmm.
your everyday, like I'm feeling irritable, I'm feeling whatever. I'm making
Hmm.
dinner and I'm feeling real irritable toward my husband and I don't know what to do about that or my
This
partner.
is very common. Very, very
Yeah.
common. Like, leave the kitchen immediately.
Yes. Yes. Put down all sharp objects and knives. Yes. Put that
Walk
all down.
away from the sharp
Yeah.
objects.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that flare of rage that happens. And so it might be time to look at it and spot check.
I've had a few
Then
of
if
those
it goes
flares
kind
at
of
the grocery store, not gonna lie.
right.
Yeah.
Ooh. Spot checking. Okay, so
Spot
how do we
I
checking.
spot
like
Yeah.
check?
that spot check. Yeah.
Spot
Uh-huh.
checking. Like what are my pillars doing? What are my S pillars doing? And if it's going beyond that, it might be time to call a therapist. It might be time to talk to your doctor about what is happening more intensely, especially if you're applying like breathing, right? Like
Mhm.
a breathing technique where you're inhaling for 4, holding for 3, exhaling for 6, right? Something that's kind of trying to help regulate your nervous system. That's not helping if it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 of what are 5 things that I see, right? 4 things that I can touch. 3 things that I can hear, 2 things that I can smell, 1 thing that I can taste, right? If you've done those coping skills and you're still like, I can't get out of this, it might be time to call somebody or tell your therapist that you've tried these things and because maybe that's indicating something else going on. Again, packets of information.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Where do you when you see people coming in with packets of information? I mean, is this like more specifically like childhood traumas? Are these things like as you've raised children? Like, are these just things that you haven't dealt with in your own self, like your own guilt? Like, is that kind of how you would see these like packets of information? I know I can't be the only one with these questions out there.
The content kind of depends, right? It kind of depends on what your life is. A phrase or a thing that I use when looking at being a human is, whether it's big T or little t, being a human can be pretty traumatizing. And
Mhm.
again, not diagnosing, however, talking about it in a very real way of like going through the birth process for the mom and the baby is stressful, right?
Yeah.
Like that's stress and impacts from what I understand our nervous systems. And then it kind of goes from there, right?
This builds, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because then there's raising the children.
But isn't it that what is it? Your sympathetic nervous system doesn't know the difference between excitement and being chased by a lion,
Hmm.
right? Like it's the
Yeah.
same. So you have to be able to like identify, like, hey, I'm really excited about this, or my God, I feel like this is the worst day ever. So I do like that. I've never heard of that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 concept,
Hmm.
but that's
Yeah.
kind of like a very nice way to like calm yourself if you can,
Yeah.
as opposed to like counting to 10, which doesn't really do
No.
anything. I'm still annoyed. I'm like, okay, let's try 20,
Right.
11, 12.
If I get to 50, maybe I'll calm down.
Right. You're at 110, 120.
Exactly. But now
Yeah,
I'd be like, okay,
serious.
I need to touch 3 things. Wait, where are the things? Yeah.
Well, and those are grounding skills, right? Because, like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
when your nervous system, just talking about it generally, when your nervous system gets activated and your sympathetic
Yeah.
process is on and you don't know if a tiger's chasing you
Right.
or if your husband's standing in the way of the garbage can or your child's been
Kind of
Or
the same.
chewing too loudly.
chewing.
Chewing. Chewing. God love him. He's chewed the same way for over 26 years, but now I'm like, "Oh my god. Are you okay? Is everything okay?"
Yes, I know that.
Or your child's listened to the same song for the 57th time and
Or
Yes,
they have
yes,
their TikTok on so frigging loud you can't hear your own self
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Holy
Like,
moly.
anything.
right.
Yeah.
Or you forgot something and now,
And they're talking to you and you cannot remember because 'cause they're talking.
Yes, yes. It's
That
anything.
feels kinda like a tiger chasing me.
Yeah,
is it a
yeah.
tiger or are they talking?
If you had asked me about 2 years ago, I'd be like, "It's a damn tiger! It's a
Yeah,
tiger!"
it is. But now I'm like, "Nope, nope."
Yeah, still them talking.
Yeah. What has helped you guys to kind of be able to make that shift?
For me, just understanding what actually was happening because, I didn't even know that I was in menopause. Nobody ever said it, even though I was the age. And I, found out reading it on my chart, leaving the office, met with a postmenopausal woman. I'm like, hello, hold on, excuse me. What? What happened to pre, peri, what and so once I did and then started that deep dive into books and self-help books and just anything that I could get my hands on, all of my symptoms, I'm like, this makes sense. So then I knew like, okay, it's not me, it's every other person that's in menopause, other women. There's, a billion of us right now, but nobody you wouldn't even know. You maybe get 1,000 that would admit it, and
Right.
then the others are like, "Oh, no, not
Not
me."
me.
I'm like,
That's not me.
"Really? Really? You're 59. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
I
you
see your hair thinning.
but yeah, but, but
Stop it.
just knowing that, like, just giving myself the grace, I guess, to understand, like, okay, you're figuring it out, and there's still, like, outbursts, but I just take my magnesium. I make sure my sleep hygiene is very that word I made fun of. Oh my God, Caitlin. I'm like, sleep hygiene. What is it?
I
Like oral hygiene? Like what who does sleep? My sleep hygiene, I say it at work all the time that people are like, oh God, there she goes with that word again. I'm like, it's so true
yeah.
because it is. I mean, I sleep like a toddler now. It's like 8:30. You got to make your way to bed, you know, make your way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're
yeah,
asleep by like 9:15ish, and then I
yeah.
get up for work and it's like a cool 7 hours, and
Mhm.
it makes the best thing. So, sleep, I would agree, sleep.
So
Yeah.
Required.
I think I kind of fall in line with you. Like, it was understanding what was going on, and then I deep dove into, like,
Mhm.
all the things that could like, the possibilities and things that were, like, surrounding menopause, and then, it was definitely just, like, the understanding, learning how to sleep train, learning how to
Mhm.
ground, because that's not like, in my, like, knowledge, it was like, "Oh, grounding, you just stand outside without your shoes and socks on, you just connect with the earth," and I was like, "Oh, that's really wonderful, I don't really feel anything." But, like, grounding is there's a whole other definition to that, which
Mhm.
even though kind of feel like I've known that, I just recently, like, have kind of started to really grasp the concept of grounding and, like, bringing yourself back to that, like, present moment. I watched some girl on TikTok, because you just see things, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Well, if you are freaking out, just say to yourself, like, 'I have anxiety. I don't know why. What the F can I do with it?'" And I thought, "Well, that really works for me." So, it's bringing it from, like, this fear space back here to the front, which brings you to, like, an action. So, to me, I've used that quite a bit recently, and it's like, okay, I'm having anxiety, so why? And then, like, I'll just instantly start moving, or I'll start doing something, and that's helped a lot. Like, little tiny things like that. I mean, these are so micro that some of it doesn't even feel like it matters, but they make huge differences. So
Mhm.
that's kind of how I have gotten through it. But at first, it was really rough. It was
Mhm.
really,
Yeah.
really rough because you get in that hormonal like space and you don't know what's happening. And I mean, I would admittedly, like, I would have, like, 2, 3 weeks where I couldn't even get out of bed. And I mean, my hair would be matted to my head, and I couldn't eat. I had blankets over my head. I just didn't care, Like, there
Mhm.
was no association. Like, I just was so disassociated with
Yeah.
every single thing in my life.
Oh, yeah.
How
Yeah.
about you, Caitlin? What do you do when you
Yeah.
feel if you ever feel like that sudden rage of someone chewing or a lion or something chasing you?
Um, Similarly, definitely grounding,
Mhm,
definitely checking in. I work a lot with, like, self-concept or how I understand, like, what's going on internally for me
mhm,
and identifying and naming, like, frustration or the anger or the anxiety, and then being able to almost it sounds kind of weird, but have a conversation with myself. Like,
yeah,
That
what
does not sound weird.
like, okay, this thing is happening, like, noticing and naming it, right? I've got a lot of, like, little mnemonic things, like, notice and name.
yeah,
And then, ask, like, what's going on there, maybe even attending to the pillars.
mhm,
Did I sleep last night? Am I like where am I in, like, my cycle?
right,
What that
Yeah.
look like, right? Because sometimes we lose track of those things with so much going on. And then, what do I need? Like, what is
mhm,
this part of my body that feels this way need? Or what do I need to be able to, like, feel to 10% better? Like, what is that thing?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 1,000%.
I usually choose Oreos at that time when I'm
I
like,
was gonna say
"Slept away." I got you, girl. I was like,
My god, I'll eat a
"What
whole
could
package.
make a sleep?" I was like, "What could make this" Oh, I know, and now that they have that little peel back, that little you just
It's too easy.
too easy.
It
They
is too
stay
darn easy.
fresh, and I'm that type of person, I don't even mind if they're stale. I actually prefer them sometimes if they're stale.
Just dip it in milk, it'll be fine.
Exactly. So it's like, I have yeah, the Oreos, yeah.
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 Sometimes
I will say though, a lot of mine, like mental clarity, not well, I still have a lot of brain fog most days, but I a lot of my like bringing myself back to who I was a lot of little lifestyle changes too, adding in a little bit of exercise even when
Mhm.
I felt like I absolutely couldn't, even if it was like 5 minutes. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just enough to say to myself, like, hey, you got your butt up and you did something. And like that was just enough. And then it's just starting to like notice yourself and love yourself as much as you love other people, because I don't think that we've loved each other or like loved ourselves as much as we loved other people our whole lives. I mean, that's really kind of some things that I identified, and obviously changing my diet was huge, adding in some supplements, HRT, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say, yes, Oreos, yes, something, right? Yes, like, maybe
I'll eat a package.
going to
Yeah.
the bathroom if I can do that and take a breath.
Yeah.
And also, like, not to discredit the power of things like exercise. Like, the amount of nervous system regulation that exercise has provided me, and, I don't love it. It's not like I wake up and I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh."
Right.
I
Right?
despise every second of it.
Yeah.
Just sweating and hating it and cussing, and then I'm like, look, I'm here. We're at the gym.
Right.
Yeah. But, I think it though too, like, even yes, same thing. Like, I have a workout place in my house so that I don't have to leave, and I still will be like, "I don't feel like going upstairs." I'm like, "Ma'am, it's upstairs. It literally is upstairs,"
Yes.
but when you do that, you realize I picked me.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I tried to talk myself out of picking me, and am like,
That's so
"Girl"
true.
yeah, I'm like, "Oh, girl, come on, you're tired, you don't need to, you just won't have Oreos tonight," and it's like, "No, I gotta work out because it's about strength and it's about the muscles and everything," so it's like so then you're like, "Okay, I
Right.
chose me over me saying no." So
And
it's a
it's
win-win.
really a good win when you win against yourself.
You were winning against yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes you don't win, and that's okay too.
Hey, exactly.
Was very true. True. And we can say that with all authority. Sometimes you don't win, and that's okay.
It is okay because honestly, yeah, sometimes you're
Mhm.
like, "Nope, I need to watch another episode of Real Housewives," and that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And that is okay. I say
Yep.
to people all the time, like, if you are freaking out, sit down on the edge of your bed before you leave that house.
Yeah.
Kids can be late to school. Guess what? That's okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? Like the world will go on.
Oh,
Like, oh,
yeah.
he's late to practice? Tough. Like,
Right.
I need to sit
You
and
still
like
got there.
reset and be
Yeah.
able to be in that vehicle with those children to get them to point B. You
Yep.
know? Like it's such a because I've personally gone through that. Like I have had to say, whoa, I can't leave this house right now. I need to like wait
Mhm.
Oh,
because
yeah.
just I was just hyper stimulated.
Oh, yeah. Hyperarousal is huge in your nervous system. Well, and I actually saw someone recently on social media, and they were showing what it was like internally on the outside. They're like folding clothes really fast or like
Yes.
running out the door really fast. And I wish I remembered who they were now. I just can't.
Yeah.
And then it was like she would stop, and then the little subscript was like, "It's not an emergency." And then she
Yeah.
slowed down and like proceeded, and it takes the same amount of time, but
It
in our
does.
minds.
Right. What I've learned is my mind is a liar. It lies to me constantly. Like
Yeah.
Mare said, like she's going, girl, just eat the Oreos. It's totally fine. Or
Yeah.
don't eat the Oreos.
Yeah.
Like we lie to ourselves constantly.
Yeah.
I have to tell myself, like, stop lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Like I do things like, and when you try to talk to yourself, girl, you're singing in
It
the
is the
kitchen. I'd
self-talk.
be dancing, talking.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, it
yeah.
is something too, like, I know, like, when you said about that social media rushing, when I'm rushing, I'll, like, get more clumsy, and I
Oh,
always think
yes.
it's the universe telling
Yeah.
you to, like, knock it off.
Mhm.
I'll be, like, running out the door, I have, now you have to have, like, I saw your water bottle, like, a water bottle the size of a fire hydrant,
Yeah.
so I'm
Truth.
carrying that into work, carrying the lunch bag, carrying the coffee, trying to get out of the door with your keys, and then you'll drop the keys, and you're rushing, and I'm like, but it's like, just your time. Like,
Right.
it's the universe is telling, stop. What?
Yeah.
Why? Take your water gallon and put that in your car first, because
Yeah.
Lord knows she ain't gonna fit in your seat into your cup holder.
Right.
Mine doesn't.
Neither does mine.
Not even close.
But yeah, I think that too, the lesson for that for me was that like, is it worth the 30 seconds to have
Right.
your sympathetic nervous system so aroused, be so frazzled, have these experiences where you're short with others or
Mhm.
that, you know what I mean? Or you're hard on
Yeah.
yourself, like, oh, these 30 seconds could have saved me so much. And it's like, girl, nah.
Yeah. I know when I first started
Nope.
Perry, I was so hard on myself. Oh my God. I would talk so much crap about myself to
Mm,
myself and others. Like I would just like, oh, I can't believe I did this. And can you believe I did that? And oh my God, what was wrong? It was just such a like downer. I was like my
yeah.
own like worst enemy. And I
Mhm.
remember saying like, why the heck am I doing that? Like why am I browbeating myself like this? And I couldn't identify that. And then once I started to understand like those were like that was a symptom of like the hormone fluctuations and that I realized that like, oh my God, your body needs actual hormones to like sustain. It was like, okay, now I can stop having those conversations with myself. It's not me.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's a symptom of something else happening to my body that I have no control over.
Right.
But I had been so much of a control freak in my life and, like, doing the right things and being successful
Yeah.
and, being that woman that just shows up in the powerhouse and all the things that we, girl power,
Mhm.
like, all of that was ingrained in me, and then when I hit that wall, it was like, "Who the heck am I?"
Yeah. And that's where that self-concept comes in. That's
Mhm.
like, 4th pillar is, like, realizing or noticing, how am I talking to myself?
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
is my body doing? How am I looking at my body? What is the energy level that I have to be able to accomplish these things? And, the mourning of the things of who you thought you were or who you knew yourself to be before all of these things took place, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good way to put it too. You are mourning. It is. You're mourning the old version of you. Like Mare says this all the time. Like you are breaking up with the old version of yourself,
Yeah.
and you're learning to love the new version, the improved version. Maybe not improved yet, but you will get there.
Mhm.
Right.
With time, effort, and a little bit of like positive reinforcement from yourself and your peers and your family. Like it makes a difference, especially in the workplace. Like we do a lot of workplace training with Menopause, and so it's really important. Like we have conversations with HR leaders and like other like, leaders out in the company or whatever and just educating them so that they can, talk with women so that they don't feel like they're being overlooked or missed on any kind of like um promotion or thing that they've
Mhm.
worked their whole life for, because they're going through this period of like fluctuation. You can even yourself back out. It's so possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say, and I don't know if it was in a book I read or who are we kidding? It was probably social media, but we'll
Yeah,
say that it was a
right.
book that I read. We're
Same.
going with book. It sounds better.
I like it.
The Yes, and, it said you should write a letter to yourself like you would your best friend.
Oh,
So, right, you're not gonna call your best friend an idiot or
right.
say, "Oh my god, girl, you look big in those jeans," or what like, you know what I mean?
No.
You're not going to, but the self-talk that you talk to yourself, because I think it is, you feel like you're out of control in everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So you feel like you're controlling yourself by the self-talk, realizing, no, you're not, you're just adding on to more of the craziness that you're feeling, not to that word in a bad way, but I think like writing yourself a letter, just being nice like your best friend, like
Yeah,
I haven't
that
done
is
it, but I think
I
it's a
think I
great
might
idea.
try it. Yeah.
I think
Maybe
it
we
would
should
be
do it on
great,
the podcast.
right?
Yourself. We can all compare notes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would get a way to have that self-talk be positive. You can self-talk, but just have it be on a positive aspect as
Yeah.
opposed to everything always negative.
Yeah, and Mayor,
Right.
I think that that goes into when you are noticing what you're feeling and how am I talking to myself? What is
Mhm.
going on? How have I like referred to myself in the last 10 minutes?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It doesn't have to be yesterday or a month ago, like the
No.
last couple of minutes, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that is powerful stuff. Like, what
Mhm.
we don't understand that it's that powerful until we understand it's that powerful.
Right.
Yeah. Because, the brain fog with that,
Yeah.
adding into it. So then when I know that, like, oh, I can't remember something, it's instead of just saying, oh my God, it'll come back. Like the fog just needs to clear. It'll be okay. You get right on that defensive, like, oh my God, other people are going to see now. What are you going to do? And it's like, it's exhausting. So I
Oh,
try just to like, I bring everybody, like I've said before, I bring everybody that I work with right into it. I was like, hold on, brain fog's here. I'll let you know in a minute. And they're like, okay, Mayor,
Yeah.
thanks.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
there's no easy way to clear the brain fog. Like, we just have to be honest with ourselves. Like, that stuff's just stuck with us now,
Oh
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
just gotta
Yeah.
ride it out.
Yeah, just let it. It's like the fog. Let it just kind of lift. Hope for some wind in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cute.
Well, and I think, Mayor, to your point too, like when you're navigating stuff at work, when you're experiencing the brain fog or you're experiencing really anything that it feels outside of your norm,
Mhm.
feeling comfortable to be able to put what you're experiencing into context for people.
Mhm.
That is good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. So you are kind of like you're bringing them into the conversation, but you're still like, then they know. So it's not like, oh my God, why doesn't she remember ever?
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm having a moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
It does take the pressure off of how, because I would feel embarrassed, and
hmm
there is still a little bit of embarrassment, but not to the extent that there was because I'm like, hey, I don't know what else to tell you. And then when I remember, I'm like, oh, that thing. And they're like, okay.
yeah,
It's like, you will be here. And they always say, yes, Mayor, we know. Because they're, younger. They're
yeah.
like, yes, you're preparing us. And I said, oh, I am. Oh,
Yes,
I am. It's a
yes.
journey that
Oh,
we all go on. We're all going to go.
Yeah.
I think my key takeaway from all of it is just, you're not broken.
Nope.
You're not broken. Even
Right.
though it feels like you're somewhat broken, you're just changing. So just change with it.
Yeah.
Roll with the punches. Like, I'm the yes person, right? I'll do anything. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. But like, so say yes to myself is what I had to sign up for, and like
Yes.
that took a little bit of acknowledgement on my
Mhm.
part. But once I said yes to myself, now here we are, right? We have menopause. We have take a pause with menopause. I mean, we
Yeah.
have a landscape for women that we can like really help through different like modalities, different like I don't even know, just conversations. Just take a pause with us.
Yeah. Absolutely. We have Caitlin who just talking with you makes me calmer.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right, right. Caitlin, I don't remember you being this calm as a kid. I'm just kidding. I'm totally teasing. I'm so teasing you right now. You just have got to
I
know that.
wasn't.
My same.
Yeah, yeah. I think takeaways are, yeah, you're not broken.
Yeah.
Menopause is not just a hormonal transition.
Right. Right.
Menopause is a whole entire identity transition. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is
Mm.
exactly. And yes, that's like an aha moment because I think people try to save and hold on to who they were before as their
Ugh.
identity. And that's what causes the struggle. Like, oh, I'm not changing. Just change with it, embrace it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that is an identity. Yes, it is. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
do too. I also think that, talking with people like Caitlin is just so eye-opening too, because then you realize that you're not so broken. It makes you realize that you're not out of the game, or you're, out to pasture, or, washed up. Like, I still feel confident in my role. Like, I feel confident in doing these things. Yeah, I have a
Mhm.
ton of stuff coming at me, and yeah, I forget a lot, but I'm able to still manage it, and I'm still able to, like, get out of bed in the morning. So to me, like, that's an important step.
Yeah,
yeah,
I would agree.
me too. It's almost like this is the 3rd act. Like, this now
Yeah.
you're unburdened from, or you're
Yeah.
not weighed down by these expectations of either being able to create another generation or
Hmm.
hold on to, idea, right? You can transition yourself into this next act where you carry wisdom and you carry life experience and you carry a new perspective on what life can really look like. And I think that in our culture, we lose that. We lose this idea that there's so much wisdom in life experience. There's so much wisdom in transitioning in your identity, transitioning in your emotions, transitioning in who you know yourself to be. And that can be pretty powerful to step into this embodied understanding of who I am without carrying the expectations that society puts on us,
Yeah,
especially as women throughout our
Yeah.
lives.
Totally.
I love that. Yeah, it is the third act. And
Yeah.
it's the most fun act, right? The introduction, the beginning, that's usually short. We're the full
Awkward
body.
bit.
Awkward. Dear God, yes. Yes, awkward. But I think that that is how, yeah, the third act of menopause. And that is how we will leave today and letting everybody know that, hey, whatever act you're in, just know that menopause is the one that you'll find yourself and your true identity and take Oreos along the way if you need to.
And
Same.
and contact us, www.menopause.com.
Yeah.
Like, we have resources, we can help. People like Caitlin are available. We can get you in touch with her. You can book a session, just depending on where you're at. Otherwise, she might be able to link you with other resources. So
Yeah,
just reach out. You are not alone.
that is the key also. Nobody's alone. That
Mhm.
is the beauty of it. Well, I
Yeah.
think, yes, I love that takeaway, the third act. Is there anything else that we wanted to get out there for the women out there?
I think we want to just thank our affiliates.
Yep. Thank our affiliates. Good Day Chocolate, Isogenics, Pantry Products, and Small Picks Magnet Studio.
Yes. And Flourish Nevada at
Yeah.
www.flourishnevada.com.
.org. Yeah.
Dot
www.flourishnevadacounseling.org. And yeah, look me up.
Yes.
Perfect. Because I'm sure everybody did enjoy this. I'm sure. I know we did, and I know there's other women out there that also did.
Yeah.
So, as we always thank you again, and as we always say, we will see you next Tuesday.
Thanks, guys.